Hello guys, today I would like to show you how to create animation like this with class simulation, these falling down pillows. So let's jump to Cinema 4D and create something even like this one. Let's start with simple, make a cube, change the size, and let's add some details to the mesh. Let's try this grid, maybe more, 20, and just 2 segments on the axis. So we have mesh like this. Let me turn off the grids. Okay, great. And let's turn on the gravity for now. Sorry, turn off. And check the simulation. Okay, so now we don't see any animation because we don't have any forces. Let's add more frames and set balance and check again. We need a lot of balance. For example, I think we can start with 20 and use 60 frames. Great. I think we need more pressure. Try 30. Yeah, something like this. Okay, so now we have balance simulation, and let's set up forces like turbulence or start of our animation. Let's go and add turbulence 50 and scale I think 25. Let's check. Okay, and I think it can be 20 and 30. Great. And let's add more bendiness. 1000. Yeah, it looks pretty good. So next one, let's add it into the cloner. Add more here and less here. Two by two, like this. Then we add random. You can keep this position for now and add more rotation of each axis and some scale, not too much, something like this. And let's change our grid. Just check if you don't have any intersection between geometry. Okay, great. And now if you press play, we don't have any simulation because we have to place cloth tag on cloner object. Let's check now. Here it's pretty similar to my original. Oh, and let's turn off the turbulence and check balance simulation. Great. So next we have to add bed. I use standard Cinema 4D models. I remember this one. So we have to scale. I think It should work, so let's check here. Maybe a little bigger, like this. Let's put corner upside, and we have to make this position closer to this side of bed. Great. And we have to add gravity. Let forces gravity, and let's turn off turbulence and check again. Okay, so now what I do next, we have to make these colliders, but for first to remove the pillows. And to avoid a lot of geometry intersection, we will create proxy object of this geometry for colliders. So I will make plane, like this one. Let's check the position. We don't need any extra geometry for now. Wait, and for this geometry we will be using remesher. We slow setting, I think 5. It takes some time to calculate. Yes, it should work. Let's check with the original. Yeah, it works. Great. Connect, pass, delete. So now we have 2 colliders. Add colliders tag, and we don't need any bounce, but we can use friction. And let's check again. Great. So now we have to create transition from this piece of glass with turbulence to pillows with gravity, and we will be using forces and vertex maps. So I'm gonna create vertex map for pillows. Yes, and we will be using liner field. Minus. Okay. And for example, on frame, let me check. And now I turn on gravity and turn off turbulence. Can start from frame 90. Add keyframe for our field force. Sorry, for a field, and on frame, I think here. Let's change the position. And now we have to add this vertex map for our balloon. And let's check again. It works, but we don't have this effect like big pressure, so I think we have to add more to test this. Let's check again. Yeah, now it's better. Let's go to the simulation tab in project settings and add more sub-steps, some damping to get it a little slower. To get nice animation, you will need a lot of iteration between these settings to test a different parameter, what works better for you. We have this weird jiggling right now, so I think we can change substeps to less number and balance to less number too. Sometimes if you're happy with your animation, you don't need a lot of substeps if it work on less numbers. So let's keep this stage, and now we have to add gravity when our pressure starting to feel some pillows. So I'm at the same here. And I think it's too fast, so we can change a few settings. I think we can duplicate the liner field. Let's call this one balloon on, and this one with removing keyframes, because gravity. And we have to put it a little here. And to gravity, we will add new one. Let's check again. It's still too fast. Go. Yeah, I think this one works nice. Also, we have to remove turbulence from this area to be sure it's not moving. So let's go and add, I think, these fields. And looks like we have to invert. Yeah, it's working. Great. So one more thing, on my original setup I used colliders. If you want to keep a specific place where you would like to fall in your pillows, I add one box there to control the area where the pillow falling down. For example, I will show you right now. We can use the cube. Place it like this way to control the area, but we're trying to avoid intersection between geometry. Let me check. Great. And you have to add some extra polygons for good colliding with cube, like this. Go to simulation tab and add collider. I'm removing all the forces because we don't need any friction inside to keep all smooth. Let's check. I'm turned off. It works great. I don't see any intersection between geometry, and all place it correctly here. Also, if you will go with this way, you have to copy a collider in each area, because now we have this weird intersection with bed. So let's copy this cube. Like this. I think we don't need to rotate this cube. And maybe you will need on sides make the same. I'll check. Yeah, that works. And add more frames. Nice. It looks great, and we can also add more polygons to cube, because on start of our simulation, as you can see in this tab, if you would like to get more details to your class, after smoothing we can check like it was. Let me show you. So now it's like this one, but if we will add more details, for example 40 by 40, now we have more details with simulation. You can also add more bendiness to your class, and we can add some stretchiness. I'm not sure if I have to add more bendiness for now, but we can add more stretchiness and check it. But it can change your balance simulation. Let's check now if it will be changing too much. As you can see, now we have this small box with colliding, so we have to add more pressure if you would like to add more polygons, because it will be more bendiness with more density of geometry. On my setup, it works good with these settings. I'm returning this to 0, and for pillows I will be using 20 by 20. Also, if you would like to check your all with subdivision surface, you have in scene settings turn on simulate before generators. It will be much faster and you will be able to see all almost in real time, but it will be much slower, of course. It works for me. Of course, you have to cache all your simulation in this tab to be sure all works correctly and rendering on the same page. Yeah, it's worked nice. So let's go to my original scene and check the setup for lighting and environment. Okay, this is my original scene. I will show you also camera animation there. Let's move out from camera. Here is a scene. I also added X particle simulation, but I'm not sure if I have to explain this. It's just simple emitter with particles scattering from the pillows and just with turbulence. So it's them just flying around, and I added small feather to the object tab. It's pretty simple. I think you can make something like this with cloner or matrix object and turbulence or fearfalls. Okay, next for camera, let me tune our XP to get all faster. And open my cameras. I have 2 cameras and check where it is. Okay, here it is. So first camera, place it up. It's like top view when all turbulence simulation happens on this area. And second camera, this is animation camera on bottom, and this camera animated just in the end with zooming out. And then I placed all these cameras to the morph camera, and we have smooth transition from, I think, from this part to this. Let me show you how it works here. So as you can see, just one line with animation, like camera going from up to down. And then to control all the settings, I baked this camera to keyframes. And inside the camera settings, I'm using focal length with 120 millimeters. In opticals, I'm animated exposure to make it less brighter in the end when we have the room with bed. And I animated focus distance to get depth of field in the scene. Also, as usual, I'm using some image for bokeh from Grayscale Gorilla, something like this. And that's all for camera. Next one, go to the Redshift settings. Let's check the Redshift. I will open this. So this is Redshift. I'm turning off all that I have here. So I'm started with dome light, with HDRI map. I think it's some office space or something like this, just to recreate room environment. And I don't change any settings, only I added more global illumination to avoid dark area in the scene. It's not too bright because it's just general light. Then we have one area light on top right with higher global illumination settings too, and for this light I animated exposure settings to get less exposure inside the room when them falling down. For example, we can check it here, and if I placed it to 0, I think it's too bright because we can get more brightness in After Effects, so I removed it to -1 on this part. Next light is first global light. Let me turn on. Okay, it's light source with Goba texture. I added this Goba texture here with window and tree. This texture animated, so we have simple like tree animation in shadows and more details on background and on our pillows. And second light we can see on this part. It's the same spotlight with Goba texture, but we have different texture like this tree on this area to add more details on the right side. And that's all for lighting. But for texturing, nothing complex too, because I just added metal. If I remember correctly, this is it's aluminum texture, and this is some gloss texture, simple wood texture. I'm using Grayscale Gorilla Plus library to fast texturing. I can show you texture setup. So it's just some textures with triplanar. You can recreate your own, or it's pretty simple texturing. Also for rendering setting, I'm using LUT. Let me show you it without LUT. And this is with LUT. It's just simple color grading. I just like how it's looking, so I'm usually using this one. And you can add the same in After Effects after rendering, it's not a problem. And that's all. Thanks for watching, guys. Let me know in comments if you would like to see more tutorials with close dynamics or maybe with some more graphics, particles. Cheers!